Imagine standing in a room where every eye is on you, every ear is attuned to your words, every heartbeat syncs with the rhythm of your voice. This is the moment every leader longs for, yet few truly understand how to claim it. Leadership is not about being the loudest, the flashiest, or the most persuasive in the moment. It is a subtle, psychological mastery of influence, a deep understanding of how words, tone, and presence interact with the human mind. To talk like a leader is to step into a realm where every sentence you speak shapes perception, evokes emotion, and drives action. It is not just communication, it is the deliberate art of shaping reality through thought, intention, and presence. Every person you encounter carries a world of thoughts, fears, desires, and biases. And yet, in your voice, they hear direction, clarity, and vision. The human psyche is naturally attuned to confidence, authenticity, and consistency, and a leader who understands this can mold influence effortlessly. Imagine speaking and having your words not just heard, but felt, internalized, and remembered. This is the realm of psychological leadership, where influence is not demanded, it is earned. It is where your mind, your awareness, and your mastery of speech converge to create impact that resonates far beyond the immediate moment. To lead with words is to understand that every pause, every inflection, and every carefully chosen phrase carries weight. It is a battlefield of attention, perception, and emotion, and those who master it can shift thinking, inspire action, and command loyalty without raising their voice. You will discover that it is not about manipulating others, but about guiding them, aligning their attention with purpose, and evoking commitment through psychological insight. The mind responds to clarity, confidence, and authenticity. And as a leader, your role is to shape these responses with precision and deliberate intent. This journey is not for the passive or the casual. It demands self-awareness, courage, and relentless practice. You will learn to decode human reactions, to listen beyond words, to speak beyond noise, and to wield influence with subtlety and authority. Every chapter you engage with will uncover layers of understanding about yourself and those you lead, transforming the way you think, speak, and act. By the end of this experience, the room you step into, the people you interact with, and the challenges you face will respond differently, not because of your position, but because of the power of your presence, your words, and the psychological mastery you cultivate. Prepare yourself to step into a dimension where leadership is felt as much as it is heard, where every word you speak becomes a strategic instrument, and where influence is the natural outcome of clarity, confidence, and authenticity. This is not theory, it is a mindset, a skill, and a lifestyle. By committing fully to what lies ahead, you will unlock the ability to speak, lead, and inspire like few ever do. Every second you invest in understanding these principles shapes the leader you are becoming. A leader whose words do not merely exist, but resonate, command respect, and ignite action that lasts far beyond the moment. Words are more than letters strung together. They are the instruments through which leaders create influence, shape reality, and inspire action. Every conversation, every sentence, every phrase carries weight, whether you recognize it or not. The power of words is invisible yet undeniable. Those who speak with intention command attention, build trust, and generate momentum, while those who speak without awareness are overlooked, ignored, or dismissed. Leadership is not granted by position alone. It is earned through the ability to communicate with clarity, authority, and resonance. A leader who cannot articulate vision, convey purpose, or inspire confidence is powerless, no matter how brilliant or skilled they may be. Words are the bridge between thought and action, between ideas and impact. And mastering them is the first step in learning to talk like a leader. The foundation of leadership communication is awareness. You must understand that every word you speak leaves a mark, shapes perception, and influences outcomes. Words are not casual. They are tools, weapons, and instruments of transformation. When a leader speaks, people listen for cues, confidence, certainty, intention, and authenticity. Even silence communicates. A strategic pause, a thoughtful response, or a deliberate choice of words can communicate more than hours of rambling explanation. Awareness of the power inherent in language allows leaders to craft messages that inspire loyalty, motivate action, and clarify purpose. Those who underestimate words often lose influence, while those who wield them with precision gain authority. Intentionality is the next critical aspect. Speaking like a leader is not about filling the room with noise, it is about making every word count. Leaders choose language that serves purpose, avoids confusion, and communicates vision. They speak with intention, ensuring that their words reinforce their goals, strengthen their message, and build the credibility needed to lead effectively. Every phrase should have direction, every sentence should have impact. Words chosen without thought can create doubt, weaken authority, and dilute influence. Strategic communication is about aligning thought with language so that the message delivered is the message received, leaving no room for misinterpretation or distraction. Clarity is essential in leadership communication. Complexity, jargon, or ambiguity erodes influence and diminishes the ability to inspire. The most powerful leaders speak simply, directly, and decisively. Their words are easy to understand, yet carry depth and authority. Clarity demonstrates mastery, builds confidence in those listening, and ensures that ideas are absorbed rather than ignored. A leader who communicates clearly does not need to shout or dominate. Their message resonates because it is precise, coherent, and accessible. People are drawn to clarity because it provides direction, reduces uncertainty, and inspires trust. Emotion is a hidden but critical component of powerful communication. Words alone are intellectual. The emotion behind them creates connection. Leaders who inspire are those whose words carry conviction, authenticity, and energy. Passion can ignite belief. Urgency can create momentum, and empathy can foster loyalty. Leaders must understand that people respond first to how they feel, and second to what they hear. A message delivered with confidence but without emotional resonance may inform, but it will not inspire. Emotion makes words living entities, capable of motivating teams, influencing decisions, and generating commitment. The tone, rhythm, and cadence of speech are equally important. Leadership communication is not only about content, it is about delivery. A steady, confident tone conveys certainty, while variation in pace can emphasize important points and maintain attention. Strategic use of pauses allows ideas to resonate and gives listeners time to process and internalize the message. Leadership speech is deliberate, measured, and controlled, demonstrating composure and authority even in high-pressure situations. People instinctively respond to the confidence reflected in the delivery of words, sometimes more than the words themselves. Listening is intertwined with speaking. A leader who talks without listening misses the full power of communication. Words gain influence when they are informed by understanding, insight, and empathy. By listening, a leader discerns needs, identifies opportunities, and addresses concern proactively. Strategic communication is a dialogue, not a monologue, and the ability to listen enhances the relevance, impact, and reception of the message. A leader who listens well speaks more effectively, connecting words to the reality of the audience and reinforcing trust. Finally, consistency and authenticity cement the power of words. A leader must speak in a way that aligns with values, actions, and vision. Words divorced from behavior are hollow. Repeated misalignment erodes credibility and influence. Authenticity ensures that words resonate with truth, authority, and integrity. When speech reflects genuine intention and consistent purpose, people follow not because they are commanded to, but because they are inspired to. Leadership communication is strongest when every word reinforces the identity of the speaker as someone reliable, competent, and worthy of attention. Mastering the power of words requires discipline, awareness, and practice. Every interaction is an opportunity to refine your voice, enhance your clarity, and strengthen your influence. Leaders understand that communication is a skill to be honed, a tool to be wielded strategically, and a responsibility that carries consequences. Words can motivate a team to extraordinary achievement, diffuse tension in a crisis, and inspire loyalty that transcends challenges. They can also undermine authority, create confusion, and fracture trust if used carelessly. To talk like a leader is to recognize the weight of language, the responsibility of influence, and the opportunity that every conversation presents. Leadership begins with communication, and communication begins with mastery of words. The individual who understands this wields power far beyond position or title. By choosing words with intention, clarity, emotion, and authenticity, a leader transforms thought into impact, vision into action, and presence into authority. The journey to talk like a leader starts here, with awareness of the invisible force every word carries and the commitment to use it with purpose, precision, power. Confidence is the invisible force that transforms ordinary speech into leadership communication. It is the energy behind every word, the presence that commands attention, and the aura that convinces others to listen. Many people possess knowledge, ideas, or skills, yet they fail to inspire, persuade, or lead because they lack confidence. Confidence is not arrogance. It is the quiet, steady assurance that what you say matters, that your voice carries authority, and that your presence in a room is significant. Mastering tone and presence is not simply about speaking louder or projecting ego. It is about cultivating an internal belief in your value, purpose, and vision, and expressing that belief naturally through speech and demeanor. Leadership is visible not only in actions but in the way confidence manifests through words. The foundation of confidence in communication is self-belief. If you do not believe in your message, others will not either. True confidence emerges when your mind is aligned with your values, your understanding, and your preparation. It comes from mastery of subject matter, clarity of vision, and recognition of your own capabilities. Strategic leaders prepare thoroughly, ensuring that when they speak, every word is grounded in certainty. Confidence allows hesitation, doubt, and fear to fade, leaving only clarity and purpose. It is this internal conviction that radiates outward, making listeners instinctively trust, respect, and follow your lead. Tone is the vehicle through which confidence is communicated. Words are not only defined by their meaning, but by the way they are delivered. A steady, controlled, and deliberate tone conveys authority and competence. Variations in pitch, rhythm, and volume emphasize important points, maintain engagement, and convey emotion without needing excessive words. Leaders understand that tone is contagious. Calmness instills composure, assertiveness commands attention, and warmth fosters connection. The ability to modulate tone strategically transforms ordinary speech into persuasive communication. It signals confidence before a single thought is processed by the audience, creating immediate respect and focus. Presence complements tone, magnifying the impact of every word spoken. Presence is the sense of command. A person exudes simply by being fully engaged, intentional, and focused. It is communicated through posture, eye contact, gestures, and energy. A leader with strong presence makes others feel heard, valued, and compelled to pay attention. Presence is not about theatrics or dominance. It is about embodying the authority and clarity of purpose that naturally draw others toward your message. Even I. And silence. Presence communicates control, competence, and influence, making words spoken in that moment even more powerful. Non-verbal communication reinforces confidence and presence. People listen to your tone, but they watch your body language. Controlled gestures, upright posture, steady eye contact, and calm movements signal strength and assurance. Strategic leaders are aware of every non-verbal cue, ensuring that their body amplifies the words rather than contradicting them. When tone and body align, messages resonate deeply, creating trust and credibility. Misalignment, even subtle, undermines confidence, making listeners question the authenticity or authority behind the words. Mastery of non-verbal communication is a multiplier for every message delivered. Preparation fuels confidence. Leaders who speak effectively have invested in understanding their content, anticipating questions, and structuring their ideas logically. Confidence is not fabricated, it is cultivated. Preparation eliminates hesitation, reduces doubt, and allows speech to flow naturally, giving space for expressive tone and controlled presence. A well-prepared speaker exudes calm authority, even under press. Because they know their message is sound, and their delivery is intentional. Every word becomes a tool rather than a guess, every pause a signal rather than a hesitation. Overcoming fear and self-doubt is essential to developing a confident presence. Many falter because of imagined judgment, the anticipation of criticism, or the insecurity of imperfection. Strategic leaders understand that fear is natural but controllable. Confidence is built through repeated exposure, practice, and the willingness to act despite discomfort. Each successful interaction strengthens self-belief, making tone steadier, presence stronger, and communication more compelling. Confidence is cumulative. Small victories compound into an aura that is undeniable and magnetic. Adaptability enhances confidence in leadership communication. Different audiences, situations, or challenges require subtle shifts in tone, energy, and presence. Strategic leaders read the room, adjusting without compromising authenticity. This adaptability demonstrates mastery, conveys awareness, and increases the likelihood of influence. Confidence is not rigid, it is flexible, anchored in competence and presence, but capable of meeting the demands of every situation. A confident leader communicates authority not through dominance, but through attunement and deliberate responsiveness. Energy is inseparable from confident speech. Words delivered without energy lack conviction, while presence without vitality fails to engage. Leaders learn to harness their mental and emotional state before speaking, ensuring that their energy aligns with their message. Enthusiasm, focus, and controlled intensity infuse speech with life, compelling listeners to pay attention and respond. Confidence is amplified when words are delivered with both conviction and vitality, creating resonance that transcends the content of the message. Ultimately, mastering tone and presence is not about pretending to be someone else. It is about revealing the leader that already exists within. It is about connecting internal conviction with external expression, ensuring that every word, gesture, and pause communicates authority, clarity, and purpose. The individual who speaks with confidence commands attention, inspires action, and earns influence because people sense authenticity and mastery. Leadership is heard and felt long before it is analyzed. Confidence speaks, presence amplifies, and together they transform ordinary communication into leadership. Those who master this chapter understand that speaking like a leader is a skill to be honed, a discipline to be practiced, and a presence to be embodied. Every interaction becomes an opportunity to project authority, convey clarity, and inspire trust. Confidence in tone and presence is not optional. It is the currency of influence, the vehicle of leadership, and the foundation upon which every great leader builds. To speak like a leader is to command attention, earn respect, and ensure that your words do not just fill space, they change minds, ignite action, and shape reality. Clarity is the hallmark of every great leader, the difference between a message that inspires action and one that fades into confusion. Too often, people assume that complexity equals intelligence, that elaborate language or convoluted explanations demonstrate mastery. Nothing could be further from the truth. Leadership communication thrives on simplicity, precision, and directness. A message that is clear resonates immediately, sticks in the mind, and motivates behavior. Complexity, on the other hand, obscures intention, dilutes impact, and diminishes influence. To talk like a leader is to prioritize clarity, to distill thought into words that are understood, remembered, and acted upon. The power of simplicity in leadership communication cannot be overstated. It transforms ideas into action, confusion into alignment, and listening into commitment. Clarity begins with purpose. Every word a leader speaks should serve a deliberate intention. Before speaking, a strategic thinker identifies the outcome they desire. Is it to motivate, instruct, persuade, or inspire? With purpose defined, words are selected to guide the listener's understanding toward that outcome. Leaders who communicate without clarity leave room for misinterpretation, hesitation, and distraction. Purpose-driven speech aligns thought with expression, ensuring that every phrase contributes to a larger objective. Strategic communication is never accidental. It is the careful crafting of words to produce predictable and desired results. Simplicity is the vehicle for clarity. Complex vocabulary, lengthy explanations, and excessive detail may impress momentarily, but they rarely drive action. Leaders speak in terms that their audience can immediately grasp, using language that illuminates rather than confuses. The simpler the message, the stronger its impact. Simplicity is not dumbing down, it is elevating understanding. It allows the listener to focus on meaning, absorb the essence, and remember the key points. Every great leader understands that the power of communication lies not in how elaborate it is, but in how effectively it is internalized by the audience. Structure reinforces clarity. A message without organization is like a journey. Without a map, listeners may arrive at an unintended destination or get lost entirely. Leaders structure their communication logically, with a clear beginning, middle, and end. Key points are emphasized, supporting evidence is presented concisely, and transitions guide the listener smoothly from one idea to the next. Structured communication provides predictability, focus, and coherence, making it easier for listeners to follow, retain, and act upon the message. A structured message is like a well-laid path. The listener knows where they are going, and why it matters. Repetition is a tool for making ideas stick. Humans remember what is EMP. Emphasized, repeated, and framed as essential. Strategic leaders understand that the most important points must be reinforced without redundancy that bores or frustrates. Repetition ensures that key concepts remain top of mind, that action steps are internalized, and that the vision communicated is absorbed deeply. Clarity is amplified when ideas are not only articulated, but reinforced through intentional emphasis, summary, and recall. The listener leaves with not just words, but understanding that compels action. Analogies and examples enhance clarity by connecting abstract concepts to familiar experiences. Leaders who master this skill transform ideas into relatable, actionable knowledge. Complex strategies, goals, or instructions become tangible when anchored in everyday experiences or vivid imagery. A well-chosen analogy can illuminate, inspire, and simplify simultaneously, ensuring that the message is not only understood, but remembered. Leaders speak not only to inform, but to ensure comprehension, and connecting new ideas to familiar concepts achieves this with precision. Eliminating ambiguity is essential. Uncertainty breeds hesitation, misinterpretation, and lack of follow-through. Rough. Leaders speak decisively, using definitive language that leaves little room for doubt. Words like maybe, probably, or we'll see dilute authority and weaken influence. Strategic communication requires certainty expressed with respect and clarity, providing direction while inviting engagement. The listener responds confidently when the message is unambiguous, actionable, and reinforced by conviction. Listening reinforces clarity. Leaders do not speak in isolation. They observe reactions, read body language, and gauge comprehension. Feedback informs refinement, allowing the communicator to adjust phrasing, emphasis, or pacing to ensure understanding. Clear communication is not static, it is dynamic, responsive, and attuned to the audience. By monitoring how words are received, leaders guarantee that their message is internalized as intended, leaving no room for confusion or misalignment. Confidence enhances clarity. Even the simplest message loses impact if delivered hesitantly or uncertainly. Leaders speak with conviction, demonstrating mastery over both content and delivery. Confidence assures the listener that the message is accurate, valuable, and worthy of attention. When words are combined with confident delivery, clarity is amplified, creating influence, trust, and motivation. Listeners are more likely to adopt, act upon, and remember messages delivered by a speaker who radiates authority and assurance. Every leader who talks like a master understands that clarity is not optional. It is essential. The ability to distill complex thought into comprehensible, actionable, and memorable language transforms influence, inspires teams, and drives results. Leaders are remembered not for how complicated their speech was, but for how clearly their ideas cut through confusion, inspired action, and aligned people toward a shared vision. Clarity ensures that communication does not merely occur, it succeeds, resonates, and produces tangible outcomes. To make your message stick, speak with purpose, simplify relentlessly, structure thoughtfully, repeat strategically, use relatable examples, eliminate ambiguity, listen actively, and deliver with confidence. The words you choose, the sentences you construct, and the way you convey them determine whether you lead or follow, whether your vision is realized or lost in translation. Clarity is the art of leadership made audible. It transforms communication from noise into influence, confusion into action, and thought into measurable impact. The leader who masters clarity does not merely speak. They leave a mark, ensure understanding, and inspire unwavering commitment. Leadership is often mistaken as the ability to speak with authority, command attention, and issue instructions. While these are elements of leadership, the true power of influence lies in the skill of listening. To talk like a leader, one must first understand that words alone do not create influence, understanding does. Listening is the secret weapon that separates great leaders from mediocre communicators. It allows a leader to comprehend needs, anticipate challenges, respond strategically, and build trust. Influence is born not just from what you say, but from how well you understand those you lead. Leaders who master listening amplify the impact of their words, ensuring that every message resonates, motivates, and aligns with reality. Listening begins with presence. Too often, people listen superficially, waiting only for their turn to speak. True leadership requires fully immersing oneself in the conversation, tuning out distractions, and focusing entirely on the speaker. Presence communicates respect, value, and attentiveness. When people sense that a leader is genuinely listening, they are more likely to share honest insights, reveal hidden concerns, and engage authentically. Presence transforms communication from a transactional exchange into a meaningful dialogue, providing the leader with the insights necessary to respond with clarity and purpose. Empathy is the second cornerstone of listening. A leader must strive to understand not just words, but emotions, intentions, and perspectives. Empathy allows a leader to feel what others feel, comprehend why they think as they do, and anticipate how they will respond to proposals, challenges, or directives. This deep understanding enables strategic speech. Words are chosen not arbitrarily, but with a keen awareness of their effect. Leaders who listen empathetically connect on a human level, building loyalty, credibility, and influence. Communication becomes more than instruction. It becomes inspiration, guidance, and alignment with the audience's realities. Active listening is a skill that requires intention and practice. It involves more than hearing. It requires analyzing, interpreting, and reflecting on the meaning behind what is being said. Strategic leaders engage with questions, clarifications, and summaries to confirm understanding. They observe tone, expression, and body language, recognizing that what is unsaid often carries as much meaning as words themselves. Active listening ensures that every response is informed, relevant, and impactful, creating a feedback loop where understanding fuels influence and influence fuels action. Patience is crucial in listening. Many leaders rush to provide solutions, interrupt, or impose their opinions before fully comprehending the situation. True influence demands restraint, allowing the speaker to fully express thoughts and concerns. Patience demonstrates respect and confidence, signaling that the leader does not feel threatened or hurried, but is fully invested in understanding the issue. The ability to wait, absorb, and process information before responding transforms a leader's words into strategic interventions rather than impulsive statements. Observation complements listening. Strategic leaders notice subtleties in behavior, tone, and engagement. They detect hesitation, enthusiasm, agreement, or doubt, which often reveal more than words alone. By observing, leaders gain insight into underlying motivations, fears, and opportunities. This awareness allows them to tailor communication to achieve maximum impact, addressing concerns before they become obstacles, reinforcing alignment, and motivating desired behavior. Listening without observation is incomplete. Observation without listening is shallow. The combination ensures precision in leadership communication. Feedback is both a tool and a measure of effective listening. A leader who listens effectively seeks confirmation, reflects understanding, and adapts messages accordingly. Paraphrasing, summarizing, or responding to ensure comprehension demonstrates attentiveness and reinforces alignment. Feedback also signals respect, showing that the leader values the input and insight of others. Strategic feedback strengthens relationships, enhances credibility, and ensures that communication is not a one-way directive, but a collaborative process that inspires trust and engagement. Silence is a hidden yet powerful component of listening. It allows thoughts to settle, encourages reflection, and provides space for the speaker to express themselves fully. Leaders who master silence use it deliberately, neither filling gaps unnecessarily nor rushing to respond. Silence communicates control, confidence, and thoughtfulness, giving weight to both listening and subsequent words. It demonstrates that the leader is processing, evaluating, and preparing to respond strategically rather than reacting impulsively. Understanding context is essential. Listening involves not only processing words, but interpreting them within the broader context of circumstances, culture, objectives, and relationships. A strategic leader considers history, dynamics, and motivations, ensuring that responses are informed, appropriate, and aligned with long-term goals. Context transforms information into actionable insight, allowing leaders to respond with precision and authority. Without context, even the most attentive listening can yield misinterpretation, missed opportunities, or weakened influence. Listening builds credibility and trust. People follow leaders they believe understand them, respect their perspectives, and act in alignment with shared goals. Words without listening may instruct, but they rarely inspire loyalty or engagement. Leaders who listen effectively demonstrate that their decisions are grounded in reality, their guidance is informed, and their influence is earned. Listening is not passive. It is the foundation of proactive, strategic, and persuasive communication. Ultimately, talking like a leader is inseparable from listening like one. Listening informs, shapes, and strengthens the words you speak. It transforms communication from one-sided expression into collaborative influence. The leader who listens comprehensively gains insight, builds trust, anticipates needs, and positions themselves to act with precision and authority. Influence is maximized when speech is informed by deep understanding, empathy, and awareness. Mastering the skill of listening ensures that every word spoken carries weight, resonates, and inspires. The individual who listens first, understands deeply, and then speaks strategically becomes a leader whose words not only inform but motivate, guide, and transform. Listening is not merely a skill, it is the secret engine behind every compelling, persuasive, and unforgettable message. The path to talking like a leader begins with the ears, flows through understanding, and culminates in words that shape reality, inspire action, and command respect. Persuasion is the essence of leadership. It is the ability to move people, inspire action, and ignite commitment without resorting to force, intimidation, or manipulation. True leaders understand that influence is earned, not demanded, and that the most enduring results come from persuasion rooted in clarity, authenticity, and empathy. The art of persuading without pressure begins with the recognition that words carry energy and impact, that the right phrasing, tone, and delivery can ignite conviction and commitment even in those who initially resist. To talk like a leader is to master the ability to inspire action through words alone, to create alignment and momentum without coercion, and to transform ideas into results through influence, not authority. Persuasion begins with understanding the audience. Effective leaders know that influence is not one size fits all. It requires insight into the motivations, desires, fears, and priorities of those they seek to guide. Before speaking, a strategic leader considers what matters most to their listeners, what challenges they face, and what drives their decisions. This understanding allows communication to resonate, as words are tailored to align with the audience's perspective, creating a sense of connection and relevance. The more accurately a leader understands their audience, the more naturally and powerfully their words inspire action. Building credibility is foundational to persuasion. People are persuaded not only by what is said, but by who is saying it. A leader who demonstrates expertise, experience, and authenticity gains trust, making their words inherently more influential. Credibility is strengthened through consistency between words and actions, through demonstrated competence, and through integrity. When listeners believe that a leader's intentions are genuine and their knowledge reliable, persuasion becomes a natural outcome as the audience feels confident in the guidance they are receiving. Empathy enhances persuasive communication. Leaders who connect emotionally with their audience understand the needs, concerns, and aspirations of those they seek to influence. Persuasion without pressure requires framing ideas in ways that align with these emotions and priorities. By acknowledging fears, validating experiences, and speaking to desires, a leader creates receptivity, making it easier for people to accept guidance and act upon Empathy ensures that persuasion is not coercive, but cooperative, fostering alignment and voluntary commitment rather than resistance. Clarity amplifies persuasion. Confusing, vague, or convoluted language undermines influence, while precise and direct communication inspires confidence and clarity of action. Strategic leaders distill complex ideas into understandable, memorable, and actionable language. When listeners grasp both the meaning and the value of the message, they are more likely to act. Clear communication reduces doubt, reinforces trust, and ensures that the persuasive message is absorbed and retained. Words must not only be compelling, they must also be intelligible, leaving no room for misinterpretation or hesitation. Storytelling is a powerful tool for persuasion. Humans respond instinctively to narratives, analogies, and examples that illustrate abstract concepts in relatable ways. Leaders who integrate storytelling into their communication create emotional resonance, demonstrate consequences, and provide clarity through context. Stories make ideas tangible, memorable, and motivating. They allow the audience to see themselves within the narrative, bridging the gap between concept and action. The persuasive leader uses stories strategically, not as decoration, but as a mechanism to inspire belief, commitment, and movement toward desired outcomes. Timing and rhythm are essential. Persuasion is not merely about what is said, but when and how it is delivered. A leader must recognize the readiness of their audience, the emotional climate of the moment, and the strategic placement of key points. Words delivered too early, too forcefully, or at the wrong pace may be ignored or resisted. Conversely, carefully timed messages, reinforced with deliberate emphasis and pauses, create receptivity and engagement. Persuasion flows from rhythm and timing, transforming communication into a strategic act that aligns with both content and context. Questions and engagement increase influence. Strategic leaders do not simply lecture, they involve their audience, prompting reflection, thought, and participation. Thought-provoking questions stimulate cognitive and emotional engagement, making listeners active participants in the process rather than passive recipients. Engagement strengthens persuasion by creating a sense of ownership over ideas, making listeners more likely to internalize, embrace, and act upon the message. Persuasion is most effective when it feels collaborative, as if the audience is arriving at conclusions themselves rather than being directed externally. Confidence and authenticity are inseparable from persuasive leadership. Words delivered hesitantly, without conviction, or with obvious insincerity fail to inspire. Leaders speak with authority grounded in knowledge, clarity, and integrity. Authenticity reinforces trust, ensuring that listeners perceive the message as genuine rather than manipulative. Confidence in delivery projects certainty, creating an aura that encourages action. Persuasion is strongest when words are backed by presence, competence, and genuine belief in both the message and the audience's potential to act. Finally, patience and subtlety define persuasion without pressure. A strategic leader understands that influence is a process, not a single moment. Overbearing, aggressive, or coercive communication often creates resistance rather than alignment. Persuasion thrives when delivered with patience, respect, and subtlety, allowing ideas to be absorbed, processed, and internalized. By creating a space where listeners feel understood and guided rather than commanded, the leader inspires action naturally and sustainably. Mastering persuasion without pressure is the mark of exceptional leadership. It transforms communication into influence, ideas into action, and presence into momentum. Leaders who speak with empathy, clarity, credibility, and authenticity move people not through fear or obligation, but through understanding, connection, and inspiration. The ability to inspire action through words alone elevates leadership from authority to influence, from instruction to transformation. To talk like a leader is to persuade without coercion, to ignite commitment without intimidation, and to inspire action that feels voluntary, aligned, and unstoppable. Every word, every phrase, and every delivery becomes a tool to guide, motivate, and empower, leaving an impact that resonates long after the conversation ends. Conflict is inevitable in leadership. No matter how skilled, intelligent, or strategic a leader is, disagreements, tension, and opposing viewpoints will arise. What separates exceptional leaders from ordinary ones is not the absence of conflict, but the ability to navigate it with composure, clarity, and influence. Speaking calmly in the heat of the moment is not a natural instinct for most people. It is a skill, a discipline, and a mindset that transforms potentially destructive situations into opportunities for resolution, respect, and strengthened leadership. Leaders who master this skill do not simply react. They respond strategically, ensuring that their words diffuse tension, clarify objectives, and guide outcomes toward productive solutions. The foundation of handling conflict calmly begins with self-awareness. Emotional triggers, biases, and personal reactions can cloud judgment and undermine influence. Leaders who understand their own tendencies, recognize stress responses, and maintain composure under pressure are able to think clearly, speak deliberately, and act strategically. Self-awareness allows leaders to control their tone, choose words intentionally, and respond thoughtfully rather than impulsively. The ability to regulate one's emotional state in the midst of tension is not weakness, it is strength, demonstrating control, presence, and authority to those observing the interaction. Listening is paramount during conflict. Many people approach disagreements with the intent to assert, dominate, or correct. But strategic leaders listen first. By fully understanding the perspective, concerns, and motivations of others, a leader gains critical insight that informs response. Listening also conveys respect, de-escalates tension, and creates a sense of validation, even in disagreement. Words spoken after careful listening carry greater weight, as they demonstrate comprehension and consideration rather than reaction. Leaders who talk calmly amidst conflict do so because they understand that influence begins with awareness, not immediate expression of opinion. Tone and delivery are decisive factors in conflict communication. Calm, steady, and controlled speech diffuses hostility, signals authority, and creates space for rational dialogue. A raised voice, aggressive tone, or hurried speech often escalates tension, while measured delivery encourages reason and collaboration. Leaders who master tone understand that the impact of words is magnified by how they are expressed. Calm delivery communicates strength and confidence, reassuring others that the situation is under control and that solutions are possible. The strategic use of pauses and deliberate pacing further enhances the effect, allowing ideas to resonate and reducing the likelihood of reactive escalation. Clarity and precision in word choice are essential. Conflict often arises from misunderstanding, ambiguity, or miscommunication. Leaders who speak calmly select words that articulate the issue clearly, define expectations, and outline solutions without adding judgment or unnecessary emotion. Clear, precise communication prevents further confusion, reduces defensiveness, and ensures that all parties understand objectives and next steps. Leaders frame language strategically, avoiding blame or provocation while emphasizing collaboration, resolution, and shared goals. Words are not weapons, they are instruments to navigate tension, resolve issues, and maintain authority. Empathy transforms conflict into connection. Strategic leaders recognize the emotional undercurrents that drive disagreements. By acknowledging feelings, validating perspectives, and expressing understanding, a leader diffuses defensiveness and fosters openness. Empathy does not imply concession, it implies awareness and respect. By addressing emotions alongside facts, leaders create an environment where dialogue is productive rather than combative. Words infused with empathy inspire cooperation, de-escalate confrontation, and maintain the credibility and influence of the speaker. Preparation enhances confidence in conflict situations. Leaders who anticipate potential challenges, understand key issues, and develop strategic language respond more effectively when disagreements arise. Preparation reduces the likelihood of reactive speech, ensures that communication aligns with objectives, and increases the capacity to remain calm under pressure. By thinking ahead and structuring responses in advance, leaders create space for reasoned dialogue rather than impulsive reaction, turning moments of tension into opportunities for strategic influence. Control over body language and nonverbal cues is equally critical. Calm leadership is reinforced by posture, gestures, and facial expressions. Tension, aggression, or frustration expressed physically can undermine verbal attempts at resolution. Strategic leaders maintain composure in every aspect, demonstrating through presence that they are in control, confident, and composed. Eye contact, measured gest, eures, and open posture complement verbal communication, enhancing credibility and reinforcing the authority conveyed by calm speech. Conflict resolution requires focus on solutions, not blame. Leaders who escalate disputes by dwelling on past mistakes, pointing fingers, or expressing frustration often lose authority and influence. Speaking calmly in conflict emphasizes objectives, options, and next steps rather than dwelling on the problem itself. Leaders guide conversations toward resolution, clarity, and action, transforming potential destruction into opportunity. The ability to shift focus from blame to solution is a hallmark of leadership communication and a key driver of influence. Patience is a hidden strength in conflict communication. Tensions often rise and fall in cycles, and immediate resolution is rarely possible. Leaders exercise patience, allowing dialogue to unfold, absorbing feedback, and responding deliberately. Patience demonstrates confidence, control, and strategic thinking. It signals that the leader is not reactive or threatened, but fully capable of navigating complexity and guiding outcomes. Every pause, every considered response, and every calm intervention reinforces authority and inspires trust. Ultimately, handling conflict with calm speech is a discipline that combines self-awareness, listening, empathy, clarity, tone, preparation, and patience. It is not simply about avoiding argument or confrontation, it is about transforming potential chaos into strategic opportunity. Leaders who master this skill preserve relationships, maintain credibility, and guide outcomes with precision. Words spoken calmly amidst tension carry immense power, signaling authority, inspiring respect, and creating space for resolution. To talk like a leader in moments of conflict is to embody mastery of both mind and speech. It is to recognize that influence is not derived from volume, dominance, or aggression, but from composure, understanding, and strategic articulation. Calm, deliberate communication ensures that disagreement does not fracture authority, relationships, or outcomes, but instead reinforces leadership, builds respect, and inspires cooperation. The individual who masters this chapter speaks with intention, acts with clarity, and commands influence even in the most heated situations, turning every moment of conflict into an opportunity to lead effectively, decisively, and strategically. Consistency and authenticity are the twin pillars that support true leadership communication. Words alone can inspire momentarily, but they do not create lasting influence unless backed by consistent action and genuine intent. A leader who speaks one way and acts another loses credibility, erodes trust, and diminishes authority. Influence is not simply about what is said in the moment, it is built over time through repeated, reliable, and authentic communication. To talk like a leader, one must cultivate the discipline to align words with values, actions, and intentions consistently, ensuring that every interaction reinforces trust and demonstrates integrity. Consistency and authenticity are not optional attributes, they are the currency of respect, loyalty, and long-term influence. Consistency begins with reliability in communication. Leaders who deliver messages clearly, frequently, and predictably create a sense of stability and trust. When people know what to expect from a leader, they are more willing to listen, engage, and act. Inconsistent speech breeds doubt, confusion, and skepticism, undermining influence even when the content of the message is strong. Strategic leaders understand that every word is a reflection of their reliability and that repeated demonstration of clarity, direction, and purpose strengthens credibility over time. Consistency ensures that messages are reinforced, expectations are clear, and confidence in leadership is maintained. Authenticity enhances the power of consistency. A message delivered without genuine intent or personal belief rings hollow, no matter how well crafted. Leaders who communicate authentically connect with their audience on a human level, demonstrating integrity, sincerity, and conviction. Authenticity signals that the speaker stands behind their words, believes in the message, and values the people they are addressing. When speech aligns with inner beliefs and actions, influence is magnified because listeners sense truth, commitment, and trustworthiness. Authenticity turns communication from mere information into inspiration and from directives into guidance. The alignment of words and actions is critical. A leader may articulate vision, inspire ambition, or provide guidance, but if actions contradict messages, trust erodes quickly. Strategic leaders ensure that behavior, decisions, and communication are congruent. Every interaction, from public speeches to private conversations, serves as an opportunity to reinforce consistency and authenticity. When words and actions are aligned, they create credibility that transcends temporary influence, leaving a lasting impact on perception, engagement, and loyalty. Consistency is also reflected in tone and presence. A leader who maintains composure, confidence, and clarity across diverse situations demonstrates stability and authority. People naturally gravitate toward leaders who project certainty and reliability, especially in moments of uncertainty. Tone that wavers or fluctuates erratically signals doubt or instability, undermining influence. Authentic leaders are consistent not by rigidity, but by anchoring communication in core principles, values, and vision. This combination of stability and authenticity inspires confidence, making listeners more receptive, engaged, and willing to follow. Building trust requires repeated demonstrations of integrity and competence. Every conversation, message, and interaction is an opportunity to reinforce credibility. Leaders who consistently communicate with honesty, transparency, and alignment cultivate trust that endures challenges and skepticism. Trust is the foundation upon which influence rests, and without it, even the most persuasive words lose effectiveness. Consistency and authenticity are therefore not only ethical imperatives, but strategic necessities for leadership. Listening reinforces both consistency and authenticity. A leader who listens demonstrates respect, awareness, and genuine engagement, enhancing credibility. By integrating feedback, acknowledging perspectives, and responding thoughtfully, leaders show that their words are not arbitrary, but informed and intentional. This active engagement ensures that communication is both relevant and consistent, and that the authenticity of the leader is recognized by those they influence. Listening also allows leaders to correct misalignments, adapt messages appropriately, and maintain trust even in complex or changing circumstances. Vulnerability is a subtle yet powerful aspect of authenticity. Leaders who acknowledge limitations, mistakes, or uncertainty communicate humanity, humility, and trustworthiness. Authenticity does not require perfection, it requires honesty and alignment between words and true intent. When leaders speak vulnerably yet consistently, they inspire loyalty and respect, showing that influence is grounded in integrity rather than performance or pretense. Authenticity, therefore, is reinforced through courage in communication, demonstrating commitment to truth and ethical leadership. Consistency and authenticity also foster long-term influence and legacy. Leaders who communicate with integrity, reliability, and alignment create a culture of trust that extends beyond individual interactions. Words become meaningful because they are backed by action, principles, and repeated demonstration of reliability. Followers internalize lessons, adopt shared values, and emulate behaviors when communication is consistent and authentic. Leadership becomes more than positional authority. It becomes a movement built on trust, credibility, and genuine influence. Strategic communication requires awareness of how every word contributes to this trust. Leaders understand that even minor inconsistencies can erode authority over time. Every message, whether motivational, instructional, or corrective, reinforces the perception of authenticity and reliability. Leaders who maintain consistency across all levels of interaction build a reputation that precedes them, enabling influence to extend naturally, persuasively, and sustainably. Authenticity ensures that influence is rooted in truth and respect rather than manipulation or coercion. Ultimately, mastering consistency and authenticity transforms ordinary communication into extraordinary leadership. It ensures that every word spoken reinforces credibility, trust, and alignment with values. It allows leaders to inspire confidence, loyalty, and action not through force, intimidation, or superficial charisma, but through reliable, genuine, and principled communication. Leaders integrate consistency and authenticity into every conversation. Cultivate influence that endures, shaping not only immediate outcomes but long-term perception, engagement, and legacy. To talk like a leader is to recognize that influence is earned through repeated demonstration of alignment, integrity, and sincerity. Every interaction is an opportunity to reinforce credibility, inspire trust, and solidify authority. Consistency ensures reliability and predictability, while authenticity ensures truth and connection. Together, they create a foundation of influence that is unshakable, resilient, and profoundly impactful. Leadership is not only what you say, it is how consistently and authentically you embody your words, turning every conversation into a reflection of purpose, trust, and enduring influence. As we reach the final moments of this journey, it is essential to understand that leadership is not defined by titles, positions, or the volume of words spoken, but by the mastery of communication and the ability to inspire influence through every interaction. The skills we have explored, confidence, clarity, listening, persuasion, conflict management, consistency, and authenticity, are not abstract concepts. They are actionable tools that shape how the world perceives you, responds to you, and ultimately follows you. Leadership is the cumulative effect of deliberate choices, practiced skills, and the unwavering commitment to align words with purpose, values, and action. Each chapter of this book is a step toward realizing that power within yourself, a blueprint for transforming ordinary speech into extraordinary influence. Confidence is the engine that drives authority. When your voice projects assurance, when your tone and presence command attention, people naturally listen, trust, and respect what you have to say. Clarity ensures that your message resonates, leaving no room for misinterpretation or doubt. Simple, precise, and structured communication turns complex ideas into actionable understanding, inspiring confidence in those around you. Listening, the often overlooked pillar of leadership, empowers you to understand needs, motivations, and hidden truths, allowing your words to strike with strategic precision. Persuasion becomes effortless when your speech aligns with empathy, credibility, and insight, motivating action without coercion and creating commitment that lasts. Conflict is inevitable, but your response to it defines your influence. Speaking calmly in the heat of the moment demonstrates control, maturity, and authority, turning tension into opportunity and disagreement into alignment. The leader who navigates conflict strategically does not dominate or intimidate. They guide, clarify, and inspire resolution through composure and deliberate speech. Consistency and authenticity seals the foundation of lasting leadership. When your words match your actions, when integrity and reliability permeate every interaction, you earn trust that transcends moments of doubt, influence that withstands challenges, and respect that is unwavering. People follow leaders they believe in, trust, and feel connected to, and this connection is built through repeated demonstration of authenticity and consistency in communication. The power of talking like a leader is not instantaneous. It is earned through discipline, practice, and relentless self-awareness. Every conversation is a chance to inspire, guide, and influence. Every word, tone, and gesture contributes to your legacy. Leadership communication is not about speaking louder, but about speaking with intention, purpose, and mastery. It is about creating a presence so compelling that people listen not because they are obliged to, but because they are drawn to your vision, clarity, and integrity. As you move forward, remember that influence is cultivated in every interaction, strengthened through empathy and understanding, and solidified by consistency and authenticity. The principles explored in this book are your toolkit, your roadmap, and your blueprint for becoming a leader whose words command respect, inspire action, and leave an indelible mark. Speak deliberately, act authentically, and lead with clarity, and you will discover that leadership is not something granted. It is something earned, spoken, and embodied in every word you share. The journey to talk like a leader does not end here. It begins anew with each conversation, each decision, and each moment where your voice shapes reality, inspires belief, and drives action that lasts.